Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I've got another episode of my series on how to make weight for you all today. So far, I've gone through the water loading process, how to sodium load, and gut weight manipulation as three of my main ways to lose water. All of these would probably be considered what I would call a passive strategy for weight manipulation. Basically, that's just meaning you're not physically forcing out any water or weight yourself. You're just manipulating variables so that your body is going to naturally lose some of that weight. And the benefits to these passive strategies are they tend to be way less exhausting to your body whenever it comes to actually performing on meet day, right? Basically, the less that you have to force water out, the better, okay? So in this episode, I'm going to switch it up and I'm going to talk about some of the things that you can do as active strategies to lose weight and how I would personally rank them as far as what you should try first to all the way at last resort kind of status. So the first thing and the most common thing that you may be familiar with is physically sweating out the weight. Now, there are some pros to sweating and there are some cons. One, it's pretty easy to get yourself to sweat, and it's an efficient way to lose water, right? So it's really easy that way if you have to push out some water. Now, there's a couple different approaches to it, and I'll go over that, but we also have to recognize that sweating the water out is going to be one of the fastest ways to dehydrate yourself, right? Because whenever you sweat, you're losing the electrolytes with the water. Now, if you're doing a sodium load, you've already flushed a lot of electrolytes out. If you add sweating on top of this, then you're going to be very dehydrated by the time you actually make weight. Now, if you're like me, and you have no other choice, right? I'm down here at an international meet. If I miss weight, I don't lift, period. I don't get to move up a weight class. They just say, see you later, guess you didn't make weight. So honestly, in my head, there's a point in time where it's like make weight at all costs and then worry about performance after that. Now, that doesn't mean that we want to do these things that may hinder our performance. It's just, hey, we might have to do them. So knowing that sweating is kind of a last resort that we don't really want to do, you have to choose how you're going to sweat. And I see this all the time at school with wrestlers, notably. They'll run to get their body temperature elevated so that they start sweating, or they hop on a bike. And here's the problem with this. You're not only then losing all those electrolytes, the hydration, you're also burning calories and your energy reserves that could otherwise be used for your sport at hand. And especially if you have a 2-hour weigh-in like I do with the IPF, or USAPL also has a 2-hour weigh-in, it may not be fast enough to get those energy reserves back and fully recover for your lifting. So instead of actual movement to get yourself sweating, you want to pivot and use heat. So my preferred method is, and I should have grabbed it out of my bag, it's okay, but I bring a roll of duct tape with me whenever I travel and go into the bathroom. You shut yourself in, duct tape all of the cracks in the door shut, duct tape the vent shut, and then run the shower as hot as it goes. And what that will do is it creates steam. That steam can't escape and it'll build up in the bathroom, and it's almost like creating your own sauna. Obviously, if you can go to a sauna and do this, then that's way easier, but that's my preferred method if I'm traveling so I don't actually have to leave the room. Now, there's a couple ways that you can amplify that effect. I now have a sauna suit, right? Basically just plastic. What that does, it kind of traps some of the the heat and keeps the humidity, like creates a barrier for the humidity and your skin, because if it's very humid, you're not going to be able to actually lose some of that sweat, which can be a good thing because if you remember your chemistry classes, right? The way that sweating cools you down is when the water evaporates and jumps from a liquid to a gas. That's what's called an endothermic reaction, meaning it takes energy. So whenever that chemical reaction happens, it takes some of the heat energy and therefore cools you down. So if you can prevent that water from evaporating off of you, then that's going to be a good thing because it will not cool you down, and therefore you will sweat more. So that's kind of the first way. The second thing you can do if you don't have the sauna suit, I've taken trash bags, and you literally just like put them on like pants and a shirt, punch some holes in them, duct tape it shut, and that'll work, as well as kind of an insulator to keep that body weight up in the bathroom. So that's what I prefer. Absolute last resort is riding a bike, and certainly preferably not running. I've seen people walk on treadmills before meets, but that's only if that's all that you have access to, right? So that's the sweating side of things. The other way that sometimes I think people forget about or they don't know is spitting. Now, I've seen people spit in cups before using gum. Now, gum's going to make you salivate a little bit more for sure, but Sour Patch Kids are the way to go, right? They're going to make so much more saliva come out than a piece of gum or without any candy. And all you do is you grab a bottle, you put the Sour Patch Kids in, and suck on it for a second, and then spit it out into the bottle with the spit. You do not eat the Sour Patch Kids for obvious reasons. Now, this is a super efficient way to lose weight. It's, I would say, a little bit better than doing the sauna. So for me personally, I'm not super, like, I'm going to make weight comfortably this time. I'll probably skip out on the sauna and just do some spitting if I have to tomorrow before weigh-ins, because this is way less taxing on the body just to spit it out. The only thing I have to warn you all with this is I've done this in the past for really hard weight cuts, and it will burn a layer of skin off of your tongue. So part of your tongue will literally die and peel off, and that dexterity can be weird on meet day if you're lifting weights. Whenever you do the Valsalva maneuver, if your tongue's swollen, you can bite your tongue, and that can be kind of annoying. It's never affected my lifts, but I don't like it, certainly. But this is, I treat this like the ace card in my back pocket, you know, and in the past, the most that I've spit out was a little over 1 kilo of body weight. So like right now I woke up at 122.7. My goal is if I can get to 121, I know I can spit the rest out. Now it's not particularly fun, but I can do it, and it's way less taxing than actually doing the sauna in the bathroom. The last thing, this is kind of a bonus one I'll throw in there for you all. I've done it in the past, it's dumb, but sometimes you get hotels where you physically can't either one, get the water hot enough, or two, get the vents taped up enough to where it's going to create that sauna look. This happened to me at the Arnold back in 2020, where I just literally couldn't get it set up and I was overweight. So we took the hotel hair dryer and wrapped me in a trash bag, covered me up with a zip-up jacket, and then taped the end of the hair dryer into the arm of the jacket. So I was like in like this, my arm was not through the actual arm of the jacket. We used that as a port and then turned the hair dryer in, and it blew hot air in, and it created kind of like this little sauna suit bubble where I sweated out. And that certainly wasn't fun. I think that was the closest I've been to passing out in my experience, but it got the job done. So if you need a last resort, that's certainly something you can do. The last thing I wanted to mention for the sauning, I prefer 40 minutes in, 10 to 15 minutes out on rotations. And usually I can lose about a half a kilo per 40 minutes if I'm doing it that way. So overall, those are my active strategies for pushing water weight out as a last resort. Hopefully that helped you all in your quest to lose as much weight as possible to actually compete. I do have one more episode where I'm going to talk about how you rehydrate and the importance of that right after weigh-ins moment where you can get everything back. So keep an eye out for that. Comment down below if I missed anything. Is there a way that you have used before to push out body weight that maybe I didn't mention or I don't prefer? And I'm curious because I'm always trying to learn as well. So as always, like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And until next time, happy lifting.